Hey guys, it's Johnny. So, I've always said this channel for me is an extension of me. Um, I use it to talk about mental health, life. This video today is a little of both. As you can tell by the thumbnail and by the title, this is going to be a somber video. It is a tribute video. 30 years ago today, I'm recording this early to go up, but the day this video is going to be posted. Today is the 30-year anniversary of the passing of my grandfather, Private First Class William C. DeVall Sr. Yeah, doing something I normally don't do on this channel. You're getting my last name. And I'm putting it out there. He was a member of the United States Marine Corps during World War II, Pacific Theater. I had to do a project in school, and I was able to get my hands on some of his military records. So I know he fought in Philippines, Okinawa, and he was on Iwo Jima. I also know from stories that he was at Pearl Harbor when the Japanese attacked. I'll get into that story in a bit. My grandfather meant a lot to me. I was his skinny mini. Growing up, I was always a big kid. Both height, weight, mainly weight. And when he called me that, I didn't feel like I was the big kid. I felt normal, if you will. I loved my grandfather. Still do. The man is my hero. And I'll get to why in a little bit. So, his time in the Marines. First and foremost, he lied about his age to enlist. He was 17 at the time, forged my great-grandfather's signature on the paperwork to join the Marines. He made it to the rank of corporal, and when they found out, they busted him down to private. And he had to go through boot camp all over again. Funny enough, the story he would tell is he got the same drill instructor, and he had a nickname because of our last name. He was Frenchie. Literally, the drill instructor said, "Frenchie, what the hell are you doing back here?" And he had to explain to him, "Sir, I forged my father's signature, sir." The drill instructor was like, "God damn it, Frenchie." So, he had to redo boot. Got through boot again. And mind you, this is at Marine Corps Recruiting Depot, well, what's now known as Marine Corps Recruiting Depot, San Diego. Back then it was just San Diego. For those of you who know, the two boots for the Marines are the Marine Corps Recruiting Depot, San Diego, and Marine Corps Recruiting Depot, Parris Island. So, he went through boot a second time, came out, and he rose to the rank of sergeant. He became a drill instructor. Now, around this time, America wasn't in World War II yet, but we were on the brink. And on military bases, they were dry. So, there was one night my grandfather had guard duty at his post. And one of the officers tried coming in with alcohol. My grandfather stopped him. Was like, "Sir, you cannot bring the alcohol on base." The officer argued with him. My grandfather took the alcohol, broke all the bottles. The smell of the alcohol got onto him. That officer went and got the base CO. The base CO smelled the alcohol on my grandfather, and they got him for dereliction of duty. Now, to get back at said officer, my grandfather then went, stole the shorts of this CO, and ran them up the flagpole for everybody to salute the next morning. Talk about salute your shorts. So now not only did they get him with dereliction of duty, but now conduct unbecoming a U.S. Marine. At this point in time, a lot of your court-martials were done at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. That's where he got sent for the court-martial. From the stories I've heard, is during the court-martial, that is when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. And he came this close to getting dishonorably discharged. The judge in the court-martial looked at him and said, "Marine, go do your job. You are now a PFC, private first class, or an E2. So, he goes, he gets into the fray. And then eventually, as I said, he gets shipped off to Philippines, Okinawa, and then Iwo Jima. Now with Iwo Jima, he was a member of the unit that had the infamous flag raisers of Iwo Jima. Flags of Our Fathers, if you know the book or the movie, with Ira Hayes and all them. My grandfather would have been immortalized. Very possibly never came back, because, only 3 of the flag raisers came back. But my grandfather stopped halfway up Mount Suribachi for a cigarette. So yes, smoking, basically, we can say, saved our family line. Afterwards, after everything, my grandfather was honorably discharged from the Corps. Did his time. And he became an electrician. From the stories my dad told me, he ended up joining the circus, which is where he met my grandmother. A lady on the flying trapeze, as Dad always said. My grandfather cleaned up elephant dung. Match made in heaven. Now, mind you, my grandfather's from California. Oakland, to be specific. Which is funny, for those of you who know me, I'm a diehard Mets fan. You would think, the way I feel about my grandfather, I would have been an Oakland A's fan, an Athletics fan. No, same thing. You would think instead of a Cowboys fan, I'd be a Raiders fan, but nah. I'm a Cowboys and a Mets fan. Thank you, Aunt Kathy and Dad. But, so they met. My grandmother got fired. And my grandfather and her got together. And they ended up going to Jersey. Had my uncles, my dad. Well, my Uncle Bill first, because he's the oldest. Then my dad, and then my Uncle Frank. Lived in Newark. Ended up moving to Irvington. Then from Irvington to Lakewood, at least as far as I know. So now we fast forward. My mom and dad are married now. Had me in '84. And, I grew up with my grandfather. We played boot camp with my cousins. He wanted all of us to be Marines. That's why I have such a love for the Corps. Even though I was an Air Force cadet in high school for JROTC, I still wanted my Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. I wanted to enlist in the Marines, but we'll get to that story in a minute. So, now we were gonna fast forward to this day, February 17th, 1996. Apparently something happened with the wiring in the house. Caused a spark. The house went up in flames. Now, mind you, my grandfather at this point is 69. Everything that's gone through, and mind you too, there's a thing. If you take a look at some of my jerseys, my hockey jerseys, I have the number 69 on them. Most people who know me, because I joke around, in high school I was called the king of the perverts. A lot of people think it's a sexual thing. No. It's a tribute to him. 69. His age when he passed. So I do want to put that to rest. If you see me wearing a jersey that has the number 69 on the back, on the sleeves, if it's a hockey jersey, it's not meant to be sexual or anything like that. It's in honor of my grandfather. Now, my grandfather needed 2 canes to walk. His legs got really bad. My Uncle Frank lived at the house at the time, as did my Uncle Bill, my Aunt Kathy, and my cousins. My cousin Chrissy being a baby at the time. Well, not so much a baby, but a toddler. Everybody was able to get out. My grandfather had to hold on to my Uncle Frank, and my Uncle Frank brought him out. When they got out, my grandfather looked around. Did not see my grandma Jenny. When that happened, you wouldn't think the man needed 2 canes to walk. You would have thought he was a Marine again. He got up, went back into that house to find the woman that he loved. And honestly, if he would have just waited maybe 2 more minutes, he would have seen that she got out a different way and joined the family. Now, my grandfather obviously went through a lot. Like I said, he was on Iwo Jima. And if you know the numbers of, if you're a history buff like I am, especially a World War II history buff, and in my case, Pacific Theater, because of him, you know the numbers of Iwo Jima. Not a lot came back from Iwo. My grandfather was one of the few who did. So he made it through Iwo Jima. My grandfather was in such a bad car accident where literally police looked at him when they came onto the scene and said, "How the hell did you survive?" To this day, I still say my grandfather looked death in the face and said, "You ain't taking me yet, you son of a bitch." Now this day comes. And he goes back in. He does not see my grandmother, does not find my grandmother. He thinks the fire took her. Death comes. He looks death in the face, and to this day, I still say, he looked at death dead in the eyes and said, "You son of a bitch. You took the one person who meant more to me than anything in my life. You took the love of my life. Now you can have me, you son of a bitch." And death took him. Now that was early in the morning. Later that day, I still remember this, just like it was yesterday. I'm living with my mom and dad, my little brother. At the time, he was still a baby. He was born in 94, and like I said, this was February of 90. He was born January of 94. This is February of 96. And I'm on the phone with my really good friend from school, Chris Conan. I hear my mom call me from the living room. "Johnny, can you come to the living room for a minute?" I know I'm not in trouble. She's calling me Johnny. You know, she's not using my full name. She's not calling me John Frank or even just John. She's calling me Johnny. So I know I'm not in trouble. I tell Chris, I go, "Let me call you back. Mom's calling me." He goes, "Okay." We hang up the phone because, yeah, I had a phone in my room. I go to the living room. And I see Mom and Dad sitting in their chairs. Now, my first instinct is kind of what it still is to this day. It's like, what did I do that I didn't know I did? So it's like, am I in trouble? Mom goes, "No, you're not in trouble." She goes, "We just got a phone call from your Uncle Bill. Grandpa passed away today in a fire at the house." My Iron Man is gone. My Marine is gone. The man who I looked up to, who when I saw the way he looked at my grandmother, I always knew that's the relationship I wanted, is gone. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, no, Grandpa's not gone. Like, yeah. He passed away in the fire this morning. I broke down right there in the living room. My dad, who I've never seen cry before in my life until that day, ran over to me, threw his arms around me, and cried right along with me. I didn't know what to do. So now we fast forward. It's the day of the funeral. I remember walking into the funeral home. I saw the casket, flag draped, of course, full Marine honors. 2 Marines, one on each end of the coffin, standing at attention, full dress blues, guarding a Marine. And I went right over to Grandma. I hugged her. I just said, "I love you, Grandma. Grandpa's gonna watch over us now." I said Grandpa got to the pearly gates, where there's 2 Marines standing guard at the gates, and he went to St. Peter, goes to attention in full dress blues. Sir, Private First Class William Chester DeVall Sr. reporting for duty, sir. Everything happened at the funeral. Taps, folding of the flag. Unfortunately, the guns were forgotten, so there was no 21 gun. Grandma got presented the flag, which is currently buried with her. That is her flag. Now we fast forward a little bit with me. That day, I knew I wanted to become a Marine with my cousin Will. Will got in. Will made it. I could not. My junior year of high school, I kept talking to the recruiter. I had everything set up. After I graduated the next year, I was going to go into the delayed entry program for the Marines, lose the weight, so my weight could match my height, for my BMI. Everything. We had it set. Go into the DEP, go to Boot. From Boot, I was going to go to a university called Norwich, get my degree in law. From there, become a JAG. Unfortunately, my body had different plans. We had a mini boot camp in gym. My recruiter was our DI. And we're doing everything. I'm gung-ho. I'm trying to prove to him I want to be a Marine. When he gave an order, sir, yes, sir. So we're going through everything. We get up, we do the jumping jacks, cadence jumping jacks. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2. I get through 1, 2, 3, 1. Get to 1, 2, 3. Come down for 2. My left foot hits the floor. My right foot hits. I hit. Meaning I fall to the deck. I think nothing of it. I keep trying to get up. Now teachers are starting to notice that I'm having an issue standing up. Teachers start coming around me. John, stay down, stay down. Eventually they call the nurse. I'm like, John, stay down, stay down. The nurse is on their way. I kept trying to get up. My recruiter noticed this. He gave the command to another recruiter that was there, who was also being a DI. He came over to me. Teacher was telling him more because he saw out of the corner of his eye. They were like, something's wrong. He's trying to get up, but every time he keeps putting pressure on his one leg, he keeps falling back down. I'm on the ground. I'm getting ready to try to get up for like the 80th time. My recruiter knew, because I kept telling him about Grandpa. He knew the only thing to say. He came over. I put his hands on his thighs, bent over, looked me dead in the face, and said, "Stand down, Marine." Beaten. All I could do was look at him. Sir, yes, sir. But I also knew that's something Grandpa would have done. He would have looked at me dead in the face and said, "Stand down, Marine." So now we fast forward, 30 years. Since then, Grandma has joined him in 2000, followed by my cousin Jordan, then Aunt Kathy, Uncle Bill, recently Dad. You know. Now, of course, as always today, I'll be making my yearly call to my cousin Bobby. The only cousin I really speak to. I mean, I talk to Chrissy, but Chrissy doesn't really know Grandpa as much. Bobby does. You know, we'll talk. And Bobby knows. Bobby knows if his two boys and his new daughter ever want to learn about their great-grandfather, Cousin Johnny Boy will tell them with their dad stories about their great-grandfather.
What time did you put the encore in?
8 minutes and 18 seconds left.
Just do like, how many was it? Just one?
Yeah. Well, there were two, but I only put one in.
Okay. So just do like, you can have like 2-3 sandwiches.
I guess I'll end it in this way. Grandpa, I know you're watching me. And I'm trying to become the man, the Marine that you wanted me to be, even without having my EGA, my hemoglobin anchor. All I can say, Grandpa, is I love you. I miss you. And I know one day I'll see you again. But until that day, I'm going to end it this way. Semper Fi, Mac. I love you. Your skinny Minnie will always love you. And I know when the time comes and I am married, the day of my wedding, I know you, Grandma, Uncle Bill, Aunt Kathy, and Dad will be there, watching over me. Miss you, Grandpa.